I can't eat it. Well, I can, but I try not to. I really do like bread. I've nothing against bread. You know, it's inoffensive, isn't it? Never did nothing to no one. It's squishy. I quite like this type of bread because you can pick all the bits off and it makes this satisfying crunchy sound. It also helps with the inevitable fidgeting that comes from eating bread. I try to take time during my day for my bread-based rituals. It's important to respect something which has such immense multicultural symbolism. Stroke it softly, care for it, pack it securely. But the thing about bread is it's addictive, isn't it? Regardless of how you have it, bread is a gateway drug. It starts off as sliced toast. Then you might move on to naan bread. You know, the one with the meat in the middle, keema naan. And then before you know it, you're hooked on fresh baked crusty loaves and maybe the worst offender, garlic bread. A lethal combination of two addictive foodstuffs. Then again, I think fresh baked bread and garlic bread are tied for their smell. So as part of my bread routine, I do take time to sniff the bread. Sometimes it's a bit painful because of the bread crust, particularly on giraffe and tiger loaves. These little crusty bits really dig into your face and then it goes all red. A red face. Sometimes all this carrying and sharing with bread can make it a bit untidy. So, if I find myself with an untidy loaf, I just give it a quick wash. It's quite nice and quite relaxing. I tend to start off with some hot water, and then if it gets too hot, I add a bit of cold. It kind of balances it out. As the bread soaks up the water, it gets really clean and very, very soft. Eventually, it does become unmanageable and ends up feeling like hell. That's the only way to describe how soggy bread feels to touch. It feels like hell. Maybe worse than hell. Like if I was tortured for secrets and they brought out the sloppy soggy bread, that'd be it. I'd be spilling the beans. I'd be sick. I'd vomit on your soggy bread. Throwing bread out or placing it upside down on the table supposedly brings bad luck. This superstition is connected to an ancient belief that bread turned towards the entrails of the earth, therefore towards hell, attracts evil spirits. The safest way to get rid of a cursed loaf is by stripping it and cutting it up, which is really quite therapeutic. If I do end up with a cursed loaf, I could spend the whole day cutting it up into tiny bits. Then, I like to hold a little funeral for it with its brothers and sisters around to watch. It's quite adorable really, isn't it? So I did actually have a cursed loaf, which is why I am balancing it on my head. See, you can determine if it's cursed by doing so. Balance the loaf on your head. How does it feel? You will know if it feels right or not. And this one did not feel right. So I cut it up into little bits. I have tried once or twice to eat a cursed loaf, which is against everything that I stand for, not only because it's cursed, but also because I try to avoid eating bread. See, if I eat bread, it triggers my anxiety. And I'm not joking, this is no exaggeration. I noticed that on days where I consume lots of carbohydrates, I would feel extremely anxious and unbearably sleepy. So I try to avoid bread altogether. And I feel better. Without it, I stay awake much more than I ever did before, and I can discern cursed loaves from regular ones. I spend time caring for the loaves that I do have. Sometimes I like to adopt them. I see them sitting lonely outside or on a shelf, so I adopt it and bring it home. Eventually I do have to wash it because it goes a bit green and it turns to hell.